Thank you for jumping on, my friend.
Yeah, it's an absolute pleasure.
It's been a week.
Yeah, we're just making the shit talking official now.
We are. Yeah, your interview, you were very like prim and proper, but you get you on the beach in the middle of the night and it's a whole different story. I'm keen to understand how you got into fishing and how you got to Gabon, I guess.
Geez, I've been fishing. I think we literally have a photo in my family. I think I was 2 at the time. I'm still wearing diapers, like standing at the edge of this one dam, and I've got like this little bent rod with a tilapia hanging off the side. So my dad was quite big into fishing, my mom as well. So I mean, they got me into it, and then from there on out, it's just snowballed and it's become my lifelong obsession.
Been a part of life, yeah.
Yeah, but like my whole thing, it's always been, I love fish. Like fish have always like grabbed my attention, grabbed my fascination. It's just something that I've always found interesting. So I love fishing from the point of view is that I love fishing. This is my means of seeing fish. You know, a lot of people they love fishing and therefore they like fish. Like I'm the other way around. I guess that also ties in quite nicely with guiding because I don't have to catch the fish. As long as I'm getting to interact with that thing, I'm quite happy. So I mean, it's literally fish have just always been my life. It's always been, like I remember even in school the one time, well in South Africa we call it grade 1, I don't know what the international equivalent would be, but it's like your first year of like proper school. And the teacher had some book about aquatic life and whatever, and was paging through it and showing us all the photos and asking if we knew what it was. And I was like, oh, that's a pike. I actually clearly remember it was a pike. And being from South Africa, we don't even get pike. And I remember the teacher was like, what the fuck, this kid's like weird. So it's just always been a lifelong obsession. Straight after school I went to university, studied ichthyology, which is fish. Arguably spent way too many years in university. Enjoyed the first year a couple times. So yeah, it's just fish have just always been my thing. And guiding, I've always wanted to guide. I come from a relatively academic family, like my mom's super academic along with my sister, so I wouldn't say forced to go to university. And I was just like, cool, well if I'm going to go to university, I'm studying fish, which maybe from a future point of view, finances, and that's not exactly the greatest life choice, but yeah, I dig it and always wanted to guide. After university, took a while to get into the guiding scene. I think people also are under the delusion that it's a lot easier to become a guide than what they actually think. It is quite a hard process, it's not like there's just positions available, and it's, well, at least when I started, it wasn't your usual like, send in a CV type thing. It was like a lot of word of mouth. So eventually got into guiding, and then a good friend of mine, Edward Truter, he's the
his name gets dropped again.
He's an anomaly in the humankind. He always wanted to get me up to Gabon, and it was, if I clearly remember, it was the year prior to COVID, so the whole plan came in. I'd already been guiding for another company, which I still guide for, and he was like, cool, we really want you up in Gabon. And then COVID hit, so that obviously put a stall on that, and then I think it was the first season straight after COVID. I came up and been here 4 years now.
Yeah, shit.
So, yeah.
It's crazy when you try and explain fishing to somebody that doesn't understand it. But like if you're trying to explain this situation, for example, it's like, we go to the middle of nowhere in West Africa, and then we go out at 6 p.m. We're up until midnight or some bullshit, and then we get up at 5 a.m. after that, and then we fish till smoko.
Yeah.
And then you're trying to explain that to people, and you're sitting there casting in the night in the sand up your ass.
Yeah.
And it's hot and it's wet and it's sweaty. And there's sharks and wildlife and wild game and all that sort of stuff, and then people are like, what the fuck are you doing? But it's hard to explain to people that I feel like people just people that don't get it will never get it.
No, 100%. Like, I've even thought about, like, how do you explain it? Like, I've completely given up trying to explain what my actual occupation is to so many people, or fishing. Like, I sometimes even completely avoid bringing up the conversation that I love fishing and I'm a fishing guide, because again, how do you explain it to someone? Like, it ticks me off. Like, you know, you get back home and some people are like, oh shit, you're a fishing guide. That's cool. So like, yeah, how was your holiday for 5 months? And I'm like, you fucking don't even know what work is.
Literally.
Yeah.
Literally.
So it is, yeah. And like you say, it's either in you or it's not.
It is.
That is the thing. And I think what also makes fishing, and I guess the same applies to hunting and like a lot of outdoor activities, it's like, it's something that you can approach in your own way. You know, what fishing necessarily means to me and what I get out of it could be completely different to what it means to you and what you get out of it. So it's a very tailor-made thing, I think.
I agree 100%. And it's one thing to be an angler or a fisherman, and it's a whole nother thing to be a fishing guide. Same industry, but like you have to have a good day every day.
Yeah.
And you are here every day within season, right? Like it's like people that are just casual anglers and stuff can fish on the weekend and then go, oh, I don't feel like going fishing tomorrow.
Yeah, weather's a bit shitty.
Yeah, I won't go. I don't feel like getting fucking rained on out on the sand spit for 4 hours.
Exactly.
And getting struck by lightning.
Yeah.
But how do you find the mental toughness that you require?
The mental toughness is quite like, and I mean, okay, Gabon is a very unique situation. Again, like as you've seen, our hours are crazy. There is literally no break. We might get the odd evening or morning off if we're rotating through the guides, but you know, sleeping an extra hour can't change your body clock and your chemistry and all of that. So like, yeah, guiding here especially it's quite crazy. And the whole thing is, again, it's like, you know, you always need to be positive. You always need to be confident, you know. There's times where you go down, we know it's going to be a bleed. But, I mean, you can't let the client see that you know that. So, yeah, it is a very mentally heavy guiding. It's just to also keep up that face the whole time of, like, being cool with clients, being in a good mood, no matter how shit we feel, no matter how tired, sick. I mean, being sick here changes nothing for us. We still got to go down every night, every morning. So, yeah, it is grueling. It's grueling, but it's awesome.
Yeah, I guess like you say it's grueling, but then why do you keep doing it, I guess?
Again, because it's like there's something you can get out here that's someone like me, I will never be able to fill this gap anywhere else.
Really? Can you elaborate on that more?
I mean, look at where we are. I mean, I don't even know what this package costs anymore. It's a shitload. Like, I could never afford to come here. People work their asses off to come here for a week. I get to experience this for 20 odd weeks a season plus. You know, every single day I get to see the nuances that, you know, people will come here for a week, everything is amazing, but you know, us guides, we're the ones that are constantly seeing the constant change. We see the mouth change every night. We see how the rain affects the lagoon, what the fish are doing, you know, get to see amazing things without even necessarily looking for them. Like, that is, I think, always the amazing thing. Like, I absolutely love going down to the mouth. If anything, I'd rather have a morning session off, just because you get to sleep in a tiny bit, but going to the mouth is always that X factor. And I'm not just referring to you don't know what massive fish is gonna, but like, you honestly have no clue what is gonna happen. Like, literally, we always have our plans and our ideas, but it's constantly throwing new stuff at us, stuff we haven't seen. I mean, today I saw something on the lagoon I haven't seen yet in 4 years. Seen it from afar, but never up close. I mean, we were drifting over a spot, and you know all those little horrible rain minnows that the jacks have been focused on. We're drifting over, and like the rain minnows start bubbling like right next to the boat. And then I watch one jack come up, smash it like boat side. I shall not mention the clients' names, but they kind of panicked. And you look down, and it's like a whole shoal of jacks that, even though in this dark, tannic water, you were seeing them flashing. Like, you could see it was like a shoal of jacks pushing the bait up to the top and a few exploding on the top. And I mean, I saw that a meter and a half. So you see, it's like that type of stuff. Like, yeah.
I feel like it's like one of those things that like would be, you could do this for 20 years, and you'd still do that every day. So this is the kind of place, like, and we've been very fortunate on that front with us. Like, the fishing's been tough, but not bad in any way, shape or form. It's still been like, we've had an incredible trip with the footage that we've got and the fish that we've seen and the fish that have been caught and all that sort of stuff. So like I can only imagine what it's like on a good day or a good trip, good season or whatever else. And then just standing there at sunset on a sand spit, watching the sunset and having an elephant or a group of elephants walk out and like be standing there like while you're casting looking at that. No, you can't do that shit everywhere.
No, exactly.
And like the other thing that blows my mind, and it's like a minor thing but it's cool, is like there's no fucking mosquitoes. I assume there would be in the wet season.
There's sounds, but it's never bad.
No, like I was walking through the swamp in the middle of the night barefoot the other night with you and catching crocodiles.
Yeah.
And not a single mosquito, not a single leech.
Yeah.
If you were in Queensland, North Queensland doing that shit, you would be like going into hospital and getting a blood transfusion.
Yeah.
It would have been awful. No way.
And like that's also
Blows my mind.
It's so benign, it's actually scary because I mean, if I had to tell you, okay, I mean you have done some hardcore shit yourself, but just say you're the average Joe. I said, you're gonna climb on a boat, you're gonna go off into the dark with a flashlight, find a little crocodile underneath mangrove roots, you're jumping off barefoot, waist deep water in a tropical rainforest. I mean that does not sound cool actually at all to the normal person. Yeah. But like here you can do it. I mean there obviously always are risks in X, Y, and Z, but it is actually so benign. Like it's not as crazy as what you would think like a tropical rainforest would actually be.
No, and it's we did a walk with the guys the other day, and it's very like it literally to the point I think their vegetation would be related. Yeah. To like walking around in there like so similar, it feels like home type deal. Just less spiders and biting shit. Like mosquitoes and stuff like that. No leeches, which blows my mind, and it's even wetter there. And like I didn't realize like how abnormal my mentality is with that shit. Yours is the same, Ewan's the same, like the whole kind of hardcore shit doing that crazy stuff. Like I grew up doing it, so it was normal for me. But then you take people like, I assume you would get a lot of clients from Europe and the US and all that sort of stuff that just are business people that don't do much other than come on a trip like this.
They've never been exposed to not even a quarter of anything like this.
Yeah. So that's I guess perspective as well. So like you go and you'll go like, oh, we had an average day. We only got 3 jacks and a couple of small snapper or something. But that's a trip maker for somebody.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
which they might only go fishing once a year. Do you get? Just made me think of it. Do you get Japanese clients?
We have had 1 or 2 groups of Japanese. There used to be a group. I unfortunately was never around. I was always on the break or my 2-week break when they arrived. But there used to be a group that always came, and I think it was 5 or 6 weeks ago we had another group. I'm not quite sure. Again, I was on a break, so I'm not sure if it was the same group. But yeah, they do come.
Sorry.
And again, like, well, I wasn't here, but chatting to Ollie, who's our other guide, who's done now for the season, and I mean, apparently they are friggin' epic clients. Like, they listen. You say, like, okay, we're fishing this time to this time. No argument. Like, fishing slow. Like, okay, we're going to go back to camp. Okay, cool. Everyone pack up. Let's go. No arguing, nothing. Fish incredibly well. I mean, those Japs are quite... I mean, hence why most of the best fishing tackle in the world comes from Japan. So, yeah, they do sound... I'd love to get a group of Japanese clients.
Yeah, and the only reason I ask is because those guys... Like, I travelled to Japan a fair few times, and, like, those guys... my understanding is they work 12, 14-hour days, like massive days, and very career-orientated and very rigid, and they have a very short amount of recreational leave in a year. So like they put all this money away and they come and do this specific thing. And this is the only thing that they're doing for the rest of the year, or 2 years.
And that's the thing. It's like, that is their time to just escape their life as well.
Have you found like trying to manage expectations as a guide probably like is that the most difficult thing?
Yeah, completely. Like always, like no matter where I've guided, like expectations is always an issue. Because again, every location gets punted with all the big fish photos and this and oh, we got 500 fish this week. So I mean, obviously people come here and think that is what it's like every week. Gabon especially, I find it is quite hard to manage expectations here. A lot of clients do come here with... The thing is, they come here with expectations which could very easily be met at the right time, at the right place if the fish play along. But, there's also tough times, and like we've definitely had some situations here where, again, tougher than normal fishing and guys being incredibly upset about it. But again, you always look at the scoreboard end of the week. There's still a load of fish that came out, and good fish as well. So... yeah, expectations is always hard to manage, and you obviously never want to. Tonight we're going to go do this and this and this. We're going to hit this sand point. We're going to get a bunch of threadies there, and then the guys are going to get 2 tarpon on flower on the north. You know, you can't. I mean, although we might be thinking that, you don't ever say that.
You can't,
because
yeah.
I mean, Mother Nature will be very quick to throw you the middle finger. So yeah, managing expectations is tough. Yeah,
I think like most reasonable people are fine with that too. Because like the people that love fishing know that fishing would be fucking boring if it was easy.
No,
one
exactly.
would do it, you know what I mean? And like, it's the risk you take. And then you've got a ton of repeat clients here, is my understanding as well. What's it like guiding guides?
I'm trying to think, like, okay, obviously Yaku this week.
Pain in the ass.
Yeah, you know.
He's not even listening.
Oh, I expected more, huh? He's on his phone. Yeah, and I've guided Johan Dupree before. Guided a few guys. Like Jeff Correa was here a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, like they're always quite cool.
Firstly, they get it, yeah.
No, they get it. And, you know, like obviously they're pretty freaking capable, which obviously makes our job a little bit easier. And again, they also they understand. Like, I mean, I think most of the serious fishermen, like, we do get to guide it, but like, you know, true fisherman, not someone that's, you know, does it every once, like someone that really loves fishing. They don't necessarily need to do it often, but you know, they're fishermen. You can classify them as fishermen. They tend to always get it. You know, if it's tough, it's tough. They know. Yeah. So, and then you also get the opposite end of the scale, like where you do get someone that comes here and they don't have expectations. And yes, we might have a bit of a shitty morning session, but they've caught a jack and they are completely stoked.
Yeah.
Like, you know, so many people enjoy just the fact of like, oh, I actually caught a fish. And that's also so cool because, and again, Murphy's Law, it's also those type of people that end up having a radical time and the fish actually love them because they just didn't come with expectations.
Yeah. Sorry.
And then you get the middle ground.
Yeah. A little bit of both. Yeah, it's interesting because I think like those people that take it, that have the right mindset too, are the ones that always do well because they care enough to do it properly, but don't care enough to fuck it up. Like people that are heavily pressured and stressed and all that sort of stuff are making poor decisions with, could be anything, like choices of leader, fly, not listening to your guide, how they're casting, all that sort of stuff. And they're the ones that miss out on those. They lower their percentage chance of catching those big fish. Whereas those casual, happy people are just like cruising along, and they're the people that are just putting in the most work.
Exactly.
Just consistently, and then boom, trophy fish.
Yeah, and again, it's like, expectations, like, and I've seen it, I mean, even had a situation like that this morning. It doesn't necessarily mean like having high expectations, but like if you get into like a whole skunk about it and a vibe, like, fuck, I'm not catching fish, and you know, you're in a bit of a negative mood, and like I've seen it countless times, and even from fishermen that are actually incredibly capable, like they can get in a mind space that is so negative about everything that, like, I'm not hippie or spiritual or whatever, but it truly has an effect on your fishing. Like if you're in a bad mood, bad mind frame, the fishing's not going to be good. Where like, again, like someone else that's got no expectations, just freaking stoked to be here, they're the ones that are having the great time and actually doing incredibly well because they're not getting into that skunk and that vicious cycle. So like I've seen it countless times, trying to get someone out of that headspace of theirs can be incredibly tricky.
Yeah, and I think like people need to come to these places, especially these remote outfits, is like, you don't come here just for the fish.
Yeah.
Like there's a whole big experience here. Just even getting to this place is a fucking mission. Like 40 hours of travel for me.
It's an experience.
Plus, and
you still need to get out. Who knows what might happen there?
I'm dreading the plane flights and the jet lag because it's literally like it's the afternoon here. It'll be the middle of the night at home. Like it's fucked up. Like the middle of the night after. So like it's complete opposite time zone. It's crazy. And then what? 2 hour boat ride.
Yeah.
And an hour and a half
potential
plane flight.
delay at the Gamba airport if there's rain. That wasn't in the fine print.
No, as long as I get to Libreville tonight to get my flight home tomorrow, I'm good. But
that's also what like I've always enjoyed about guiding like foreign clients, you know, from the USA, from the UK, just elsewhere. They enjoy all of that added on stuff.
It's all new.
I mean, obviously hiccups and that, everyone enjoys until like it just becomes a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
That's all of us. But like everything else is so cool to them. Like I think from a South African context, most of us have grown up quite outdoorsy, hunting, fishing. We've seen elephants, and so they come here. They're like, "Fuck, I don't give a shit about the elephants. I don't want to go on jungle walks. If I don't hit number 45 Jack for the day, like it's not a great day. Like they just want to. It's like I've seen bloodlust come out here in people as well.
Yeah,
like where they just want to fuck up fish.
Yeah, right.
Like that's their sole goal, and they miss out on everything else.
Yeah.
Like foreigners always like, you guys. So many foreign clients like, oh no, cool. We'd go dig to go do a walk. We'll go dig to trek up the beach and go see the hippos. Oh, look at the lizards running around here around camp. They just appreciate everything more overall. Like, I still love guiding South Africans because there's always commonality, there's always things to talk to them about, and most of my experience and my clients from both the companies I work for, like, they're actually just really cool dudes, and you get along with everyone. But like, yeah, they're not always keen to have the experience overall outside of the fishing.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense. I guess like it's a weird one that they would travel here to do that.
Well, no, they travel here because they can bus fish.
Right. Yeah. Well, there you go.
It's
the fishery.
There'll be bus in fine print. Footnote.
On to the fishing side of things, I'm keen to sort of talk a bit more about that. Like it's a super unique fishery, and it's super hard to fish for someone that doesn't understand it. I guess that hasn't spent time here learning the fishery. Can you explain sort of what we're looking at here from a fishery perspective?
So okay, I guess the broader picture is like, so Gabon as a whole as a country is quite an anomaly in the Africa scene. A lot of it is the former government, a lot of it was placed under protection. There are a lot of marine protected areas. There's a 5 nautical mile ban zone of commercial fishing industrial commercial fishing along the entire coastline of Gabon. So it's just a very protected country to start off with, but like especially from a terrestrial side, but even from like an aquatic side. So you already got a very good foundation and a base. Then from there, West Africa is, I honestly think you could go back, say, 500-600 years ago. I think this place, the entire West Africa, stretching from northern Angola all the way up past Ivory Coast, it must have been the most amazing place because it's so diverse. There's so much life, and especially marine life. So, you've got a place that's super protected, a place that, has the foundations already of just being a very cool place for fish. And, we're quite lucky here. So we got the second largest lagoon on the African continent. Flows out. You've seen how big this lagoon system is. Like, you can't believe. And now that goes through a bottleneck. That's what, 3-4 cast distances across?
Yeah, literally.
So you got this bottleneck where everything is coming out into the ocean. And especially after good rains and everything, when everything has had a bit of a flush, the amount of like swimming crabs and prawns and bait fish and everything. So like the big fish that are hanging normally in the day, like in the surf zone and like literally just off the back line and in the inshore, at night time they'll come in and they literally get concentrated within this bottleneck. So that's what makes Setsakama so unique in a way, is because you can get a concentration of fish that you can access from land. We've spoken about threadies a lot in that, but like when the threadies come in thick, it's actually something to behold. You can almost like stand on the beach, make a cast, like whether it's lure or fly. Obviously lure, you punish them a bit more. Like let your lure hit the bottom, like jig once, on. Next cast, make a cast, jig once, on. You can almost like imagine it's this wall of fish, like spanning the mouth. And it might be a shoal of fish that's classed like 5 to 10 kilos, or could be fish from 10 kilos all the way to 40 kilos. So it's just, again, like having everything so concentrated and then being able to access it from a land-based point of view. That is what makes Setsakama especially very unique. Like, yeah, it's actually just a very unique situation.
Yeah, and my brain's just picturing that sort of stuff because I've seen it here obviously all week, but like not at the level of mayhem that you're explaining. So like just to imagine that at that place, because it looks crazy when you go down there. You're like, fuck, this is the fishiest place I've ever been to in my life. So I can just imagine what it's like on a really good day.
Yeah, I mean, like I really wish you guys got to experience like what we consider like a good fly fishing night, like where, you know, like when we're on the south side and we walk up to where those mangroves start. And, you know, it's a bit quieter there. You're not hearing the pounding surf as much. I mean, the fish are in there in force. And that's how I remember asking you, like, do you guys have like a directional mark in that? Because like when shit's going down there, like it is so violently noisy. Like there is just bait fish getting murdered like constantly. You got big snapper smashing a mullet at your feet, like the clients shit themselves because it literally looks like an explosion, like at your feet. You got tarpon jumping out, you know, you hear the tail snaps of 3Ds feeding. It's such a, again, because from the whole night fishing point of view, it's such a tangible, tactile fishery because you're fishing in the dark. But now, like, you know, when all the stars align and everything, now you add this whole audio aspect on top of that. Like, it's just, it's honestly mind-blowing.
Yeah, we made an effort for that front, like to really try and capture all the Rio. Even just how much current there is in that bottleneck on the outgoing tide is insane. And the fact that those big tarpons sit in that blows my mind. Like how many knots? It'd be 10.
No, it's
10
it's
to 15
humping.
knots. Yeah, it's incredible. Like when we hooked it up the other night and lost the float. Like there was that much current, it pulled the float under. So like for explanation's sake, like there's an anchor in the water, it goes up to a float, the float hooks onto the boat.
Yeah.
You're fishing.
Buoy is the correct
Boy. You are dead correct, and I'm using bloody bogan terms. Throw the buoy in the water and then go to the beach and fight the fish.
Yeah.
We came back and there was
Buoy's
so much
gone.
current that the buoy was pulled under the water.
Yeah.
It's an incredible amount of current, and it doesn't like. It's so hard to explain on here, but visually, it's like this lagoon has a dead set stopping point.
Yeah.
And then you hit ocean water.
Yeah.
It's like a dead hard wall line, and it moves with the tide slightly, but not very much. And you've got this. It's just jet black water meets pure ocean water, and it's like one of the most incredible things I've ever seen.
But the cool thing is, like, when we get proper rains and that fresh water like flows out for miles. So like where you walked for the hippos the other morning, you can go all the way up there during like the proper rainy season, and like that water is pitch black there.
Yeah, right.
Like you see that divide on the south bank versus the north bank, because generally the way the formation is, the river will flow out and then the channel will go along the north a bit. So although you're fishing in the surf and the ocean, it's still like that's where the fish and the south to north current.
Yeah.
Where so like on the south and north, you can say on the south point, and there can be that like the fine like crystal blue.
Yeah.
Marine water and this fresh water, and obviously it mixes up, but like that dark tannic water, like after good rains, can extend kilometers upon kilometers along the north coast.
Yeah, right.
And like I think that's also why like rain is quite a we know it is a very vital ingredient to the fishery here, because you know the likes of threadfin and that, I think what happens is, you know, they stay within the nearshore environment, and they definitely do occur more offshore. But you know, like they'll be hanging out there, and now all of a sudden you get these plumes of fresh water that are going up the whole north coast, and that's now literally just like chumming's the wrong word, but you know, that's what now pulling them in, and now they come sit in that bottleneck again. So that's why it is a bit trickier when we haven't had rain, because I don't think the number of fish are coming in. You know, it's just fish in the area, they'll come in, feed a bit on whatever bait fish is there, you know, bump back up. But when we have heavy rains, I think it honestly pulls like everything into that bottleneck. Yeah,
I guess because like so much stuff spawns and is in here and then goes to the mouth. So much stuff lives in here, and then goes to the mouth to spawn. And then all those big coastal tarpon and everything push in the threadies and all that sort of stuff in the Kibera, which is crazy. Like, and Ewan touched on it, and we've chatted bits and pieces about it, but. And you mentioned it in your interview, like one of the pinnacle for you here is the land-based Kibera.
Yeah.
And they're monstrous.
Yeah.
Can you explain, why do you think that is? Why is it here that complements it so well?
Protected.
Yeah.
I think again, the whole of West Africa used to be like this. And especially in the case of like the Kibera snapper, or like all the species really, like same as the threadfin, even the tarpon, like they're all, well, snapper especially, like incredibly slow growing. No one's quite even sure. There's been, again, like no research done on these West African species. So like the West African Kibera, like who knows what size they actually reach sexual maturity, how old they live. I rate they're getting 40, 50 plus years old. So, obviously you hammer a system, I mean, you moving those fish out, and I mean they tend to be quite resident. So yeah, again, I think that is what's also just makes this place unique, is that there is protection here.
Yeah.
So like it's allowing those fish to just exist really. Yeah. So that's the thing, especially from the snapper point of view. I mean, there's Nyanga, a massive river to the south of us. It's known for their big snapper, but they're getting one in a blue moon every now and then. It's like here there's, again, always that chance because they are here.
Yep.
But it's a fucking shrewd fish.
It sounds like it. But how to fish for them seems like pretty epic too.
Yeah. I think the thing is that everyone always obviously associates snappers with reefs, which is, I mean, completely valid. Like where we were last night, where all the rocks are, loads of snapper on those rocks. Those big Kiberas, like that, they are not scared of shallow, turbulent water. So like, if you've got rolling white water on a bank that's not even like knee to waist deep, like he's in there. Like he's in that chaos and that white water. Like they are not scared of like shallow water at all, especially in the dark. Like if they ever like that North Point, if it's quite high, which we generally like wade out and fish the edge, obviously you're throwing more into the open ocean and the river channel coming out. Like you always make a few shots on that shallow bank first. Yeah. Because like I've seen it before, you're standing there fishing, you look behind you and you like literally watch this back of this big snapper like in like water this deep just cruising behind you where you've just walked through. Like those things are, they don't give a shit. Yeah, well, I think that's the whole thing of the snapper. Like it's just got such an attitude to it. It doesn't care. It doesn't give a shit about bull sharks. Doesn't care about being exposed in shallow water. Like he just wants to kill. Like that's his sole like priority. And the thing is, when he doesn't want to kill, well, good luck trying to hook him. Like, again, I believe they are the shooter. This lagoon is rotten with big snapper, and yet we hardly ever get them. Like you hardly ever pick them up on fly. You hardly ever pick them up, hardly on lure. But there are so many here. They are so, if you had to spend proper live baits and figuring it out, I think you'd get quite a few. I'm big. I'm talking like 30, 40 kilo fish, like up here.
Wow.
Yeah. But, I mean, we never touch them. They're artificial.
Wow.
Yeah. No, they're clever.
Jesus.
They've been around for a long time. They're not stupid.
Yeah, not big because they're silly. And, that at that age, like, you've seen a lot of shit, like 40, 50 years.
Yeah.
It's incredible. And it's like, they just look mean, too. Like a monstrous ruby red thing with big teeth and just big, heavy and crazy.
Yeah.
What are you chasing them on, fly-wise?
Fly-wise, so again, like, that's the whole thing. Like the fly fishing here is no real, like we can't say, okay, cool, this is how you use X, Y, and Z, and you do X, Y, and Z, and this is how you catch threadfin. And then you do this and this and this, and that's how you catch snapper. Like, it's the fishing method on fly remains the same for snapper, threadfin, cob, tarpon. Like, it's all the same approach. So you always 12 weight, obviously. Intermediate lines, full sinking in certain situations. Flies varying from those freaking monster peanuts to smaller, all depends on what's happening. Like, it's all the same approach.
Yeah.
Like, again, there's no real... The only way to, like, specifically target a fish here is, like, the tarpon can doing the boat in the mouth. Like, because that you're only going to get tarpon doing that. Like, that's the only... way to be like, okay, well, we are only going to get tarpon. Otherwise, it's honestly, you just don't know what you're going to catch.
Which is crazy.
Everything is eating on the same retrieve, dead slow. Which again, like, people struggle to comprehend how slow you need to fish. Like,
why is
dead
that?
slow in the dark. I think it's also just because of the current.
Yeah.
The current's humping at it alone. So now you've really got your fly swinging off the current. If you're not very good at managing your line, you've got a big drag. I mean, that fly is sending it. And now you stripping on top of that. I mean, that fly's traveling at such speed.
Yeah.
Where, like, if you control your line, rather do more of a medium cast than trying to bomb a long cast. Fish a controllable short line where you can control your line, achieve as much of a dead drift as you can. That's all you need. Those fish are just sitting there, just waiting for things to come over.
Yeah.
But a mullet's also not traveling at Mach 300. So,
Are you mending a lot?
mending's a bit of a tricky one.
Yeah.
Like, if it had to be us fly fishing, you and myself and the other guys, like a mend's important. Even if mends throughout your cast, not just one big one. But to try and get someone to mend effectively
in the pitch play.
it's especially if they're not used to the technique at all, if they haven't done much river fishing in the past, of like for trout or something like that, or swinging, a mend, if you're not doing it appropriately, it can be more detrimental than good, I think.
Okay.
Because again, like these fish here, like the two things I always believe clients struggle with, whether it's spin fishermen or fly, again, number one, fishing way too fast.
Yeah.
Number two is actually registering the bites. Like, although like these are big, gnarly saltwater fish, like their bites can be so incredibly subtle. Like it can be just like a sponginess or a chain. And again, which is cool about this fishery because it does become so tactile that sometimes something just felt weird there. It's no like knock, or it's just something felt out of place. And if you cotton on and you have that positive reinforcement of actually reacting to one of those sensations and hooking it, and then the shit show unfolds, then you're like, fuck, I think I've had quite a few bites. It's like, that's the thing. So getting back to the men, so again, if you're not doing it correctly, you might actually miss those bites. So it is tricky. I mean, again, when we're talking about the fast current and when that current's really humping, and again, your player zone really have to fly, so actually like, that cone in front of you. Once your fly is down there, it's out of play.
Yeah, pull it in.
You might. I'm not saying we never get bites, but it's not effective.
Yeah.
There's times that flies in that play zone 2.5, 3 seconds. And guys are always like, no, this is like, how the hell are you going to hook a fish? It's enough. When the fish are there, they're so quick to react on something coming over them. Obviously, if it looks as natural as possible. So again, mending's complicated. We like the technique where, I'm sure you saw during the week, was the walking.
Yeah.
So, you basically tell the guy, okay, you've got this 15 meters or 20 meters. This is like your beat in a way. Cast slightly up under the arm. Again, it gets tricky because, again, of the speed and, dark, guys can't see their lines. But, rather walk with the fly. You don't need to be perfectly in line with it. It can even be still a bit down, but it just does keep your fly in the zone naturally for a bit longer.
Yep.
Like, that's a super deadly technique if you've like got in the hang of it, and obviously you got space.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I mean, when everyone's saying next to one another, it's like, you can't do that.
Nah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true too. And I just think, like, if you were to be, say you're a trout fisherman or whatever else, and you're going there and you see that, you're like, this is unfishable water.
100%.
Which is insane. Like, and you look at how you would cast that thing. And the only thing, literally, like, the very first time I saw it, I was like, you have to walk to swing this. Like, you have to cast slightly up current and then follow your fly down while you're stripping in. And I'm no expert. And that was literally the first thing that come to mind of mine. I was like, fuck, how does people manage line here?
Yeah.
It's insane.
No, it is.
Yeah.
If anything, I'd say tarpon are a little bit more forgiving in a way. Because a lot of the time fishing from the side, those tarpon will literally eat that fly like upon landing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like it's the quickest. So like, when guys cast, like I always tell the clients, like, when you do your cast and your men, you must be quick and then you must be ready. You mustn't fumble around and, by then also your fly's now really gone out the zone. But the number of times those tarpon eat that fly, like, as it freaking lands, like, it's unreal. So definitely for the snapper and the thready is a bit more like line control is a lot more important. And obviously tarpon, you're not always landing on a tarpon's head.
Yeah.
But line control is a big thing. Like if you do, and it's the thing is as well, guys get tired.
Fucking haul on 12 weight. There's no, it's been
blind
said
cast,
5 times.
Blind casting a 12 weight for 4 or 5 hours in the dark.
Intermediate head, no 12 weight is comfy.
No.
Ever.
No, there's no such thing as a nice 12 weight rod.
Never.
They're all shit.
It's impressive. It's like, I think like, I just find like even simple things I noticed. There's like just when you cast, you shoot, let your slack feed through your hand. Don't let it go and then find it again.
Feathering.
Simple thing,
Simple little things.
Yeah, all those little 1%ers.
Yeah.
The thread fin here are incredible because I just compare them to the ones at home, and they're pretty much identical, but like just monstrous.
Yeah, they've just been to gym.
Literally,
Yeah.
literally, and they seem like a pretty cool fish to try and catch.
Yeah.
The one thing I don't understand is they're feeding mid to top water or subsurface.
Yeah.
At home, I don't know if that's it probably would be, but I don't know many places at home.
They definitely they are definitely more of a benthic predator. Like, I mean, hence why they got those filaments, those feelers. Like, I mean, they are spending majority of the time feeding close to the bottom.
Yep.
And again, I mean, their whole physiology shows that, you know, they've got quite an underslung mouth. You can see it's something that's made to eat down and not up. Mm-hmm. That being said, though, like, you know, when there are lots of mullets in that, I mean, they do come up and they will, I mean, they will actively chase baitfish as well, and they will come hit mullets on the surface. That's why us guides, when we're hearing fish going off, like, we can tell you what species it is.
Yeah.
Like, tarpon, you know, they tend to breach. You hear the belly flop as they land. Snapper, it's just one massive explosion. The threadies, when they're eating mullets, not necessarily on the surface, but even just close to the surface, because again, they've got that underslung mouth. So, you know, it's, if you got a mullet here, you know, he's got to try, like, eat it like that instead of like that. So, you know, they always do like a cartwheel. So, you know, you'll hear a big splash, but then you'll hear that very distinct like tail slap, because he's literally done like a cartwheel to try and get hold of that mullet. So, like, they're very active predators. So, like, although they're mainly on the bottom and doing whatever they do on the bottom, like, I mean, I think they can go full on hunt mode and like actually chase down mullets and prey and smash bait balls. Like, they're freaking cool fish.
Yeah,
like,
I think
they really are.
They look incredible, and just they just the size of them here. Like, we killed a couple the other night for dinner for food here and stuff, and like I was looking at those, I was like, if you caught them at home, you would blow up the internet. Whereas here it's like, oh, they're small to medium size, like
average.
Literally like good eating size.
So it's the small ones we actually keep to eat.
It's literally crazy. The cob's another one that I find interesting, which for people at home, it's mulloway.
It's a completely different species to mulloway. But I mean, they're super similar.
Very, very similar. Are they? So they don't seem as prevalent. I assume they would be prevalent, but not. You don't catch a lot.
They're actually, I think they really are very prevalent. The thing is with them is they're not actually the biggest fans of the fresh water coming down. So we get a lot more of them in the surf zone, especially the south side, because again, the south side it's very marine dominated, because the channel and the current always pushes the fresh water up the north coast. So the south side in the surf, like, they can be full out, and then on the south points, as you saw the other night, you know, you've got this point, and the dry points is like that, but the other point still carries on underwater. It's that shallow sandbank. You've got those waves rolling over, and like on a big spring tide like what we had, I was incredibly surprised we didn't end up getting a few of those on fly, because I mean, they'll come and sit like right on that drop off. So I think that's the thing. I mean, if you had to go throw a paddle tail or something in the surf, I mean, you can clean them up. Like, literally clean them up. Like, they are full up, but they only really come into the lagoon mouth in any form of significant presence when, like, it's been big tides, which again, it's been surprising we don't actually get more of them this week.
It's interesting. There's a lot of similarities to home, a lot of differences, but a lot of similarities as well. Like, but the places the locations that you guys choose to fish. So like on the north side, the opposite side, when we were walking back from the hippo walk that I did with Ewan, I walked past, I was like, do you ever fish this spot?
And Ewan's like, that north point of that guts on that side.
As soon as I walked past, I was like, whoa, that looks really
that's the thing.
hot.
I mean, if you're a fishy person and you've got like, if you just know how to read water.
Literally.
Like, that's the whole thing, it's just reading water. Like, you know, you can see why we fish in certain places. It's like everywhere. Like, you never want to fish dead water.
No.
You want currents and conflicting currents and waves and banks and edges. Like, typical. I mean, if you come from we call it rock and surf fishing, and you know, the fishing bait from the rocks and the beaches. Like, you know, us South Africans, like, that's how we've all been brought up. Like, we are, I don't want to blow smoke up our ass, but like, we are fucking good at reading water. Especially from a coastal point of view. Like, so if you can just do that and obviously know like how to fix this and this and this, and no fish or no saltwater fish, especially here, like, wants to be in stagnant water. So if you can find anywhere where there's conflicting currents or like a wash that's coming over a bank into a deeper hole, like, it is yeah, it's not rocket science. Maybe it might not be rocket science to us because we freaking do it every day. But yeah, it's not
I think the
that
principles,
difficult if you know what's actually going on.
Yeah, I feel like you can apply it to most fisheries
Yeah.
with any form of current, whether it's freshwater or
Exactly,
salt.
yeah.
Even wind affected current, like
Yeah.
in lakes and stuff.
Yeah,
Because
100%.
wind creates current, even
Yeah.
though it's very subtle in dams and things
Yeah.
for barramundi and cod and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
So I mean, it's the same here in the Upper Lagoon because, I mean, there's like, I think it's 360 or 365 habitable islands on this lagoon. I stand to be corrected, but I think it is actually the highest density of islands in the southern hemisphere.
Huh.
I think. I might be very wrong, but I remember something.
check that.
I think Ed told me that, or I read it somewhere. But yeah, it's.
Cole's Googling that.
But now, so what happens is like there are some of these islands that obviously are quite close together, and again, like our predominant wind is like north to south. You know, up in the Upper Lagoon, there's not, if there's been lots of rain in that, you'll get currents and that does form, but otherwise, like it is wind current. So I mean, you can get places where like, okay, you know the wind's been blowing through between these two islands, and I mean, you get a current that's coming out there, you hammer the snapper up there. Like again, you go fish that same spot on a non-windy day, the snapper are there. We know they're
not
there,
feeding.
they're resident, but they're not feeding. So again, just water movement. I think water movement. It's like the last few mornings on the lagoon, for example, we've been getting that the end of the high tide, and with it being quite significant tides because of the equinox, and then we're getting that long period of lull before it turns. And that's why, well, I mean, to us, the jack fishing has been slow. I mean, to you guys, it's still been freaking epic, but
Yeah.
it's been so fast because there hasn't been current. Like predatory fish love a current. It's
Yeah.
just period, done.
It mate, yeah,
Yeah.
I 1,000% agree. Do you do any other guiding for African waters?
No,
place?
so I only do Gabon for African waters, and then I work for another company which I've actually worked for the longest, and for them I've done the Orange River in Namibia.
Yes.
So drift trips, 5-6 days drifting down the Orange River for yellowfish, largemouth and smallmouth, and then I've guide for tigerfish for that company as well, in like a big lake in southern Africa.
Is that, are they
yeah.
giant tigers or?
No,
just
so
normal?
it's normal Hydrocynus vitatus, so your typical African tigerfish. And where we actually fish is it's quite unique in that it's actually the southernmost distribution of tigerfish in Africa. And it's a very unique, it obviously was a river once upon a time, well, in the late 70s, early 80s, and then was built up, and now it's quite a big dam. So it's a very cool and unique fishery because you're targeting those fish in a still water environment. It's a river fish, but in a still water environment. I mean, I've done quite a bit of fishing for tigerfish in like the Zambezi and that, that's where like everyone goes for tigerfish. So it's very cool now to go catch that thing in a still water environment and how different they behave. But again, like wind and that, but now they are weird fish. Tigerfish hate wind. Like, like going fishing, like, oh, you got a edge of a water body, the wind's hammering into it, that's where you go fishing. No, you go the opposite side for tigerfish. They want glassed off. They love midday sun and glassy conditions. Like, where, like, you don't go fishing because it's shit conditions for everything else. That's when you go fishing.
Because they're so visual feeders,
I
and,
think
and
so.
it must be like light refraction and shit.
It must be something like that. Like, I can't explain it. Like, even gets to the extent, like, even on a windy day, like, we get quite a bit of, that dam's always fluctuating, but normally we get these big, like, Phragmites islands. And, like, you go fish, like, the lee side of that little island, although it might be a pocket, literally the size of this table of glass, and, like, swell coming through around it, like, they're sitting in this glassed off pocket. Like, it's a very tigerfish. I love tigerfish.
You sound like you do.
Like,
they seem incredible.
Yeah, it's a saltwater fish in a freshwater environment.
Yeah, and they're so
just
aggressive.
with differences, like not liking wind.
Yeah. I've already, literally. Well, I've already committed to Cameroon at some stage.
100%.
Top water tiger on fly would be epic.
Yeah.
Explain to me a bit about the yellowfish. Like, I know they exist, but I know fuck all about them.
Yeah, so yellowfish, and it's quite funny. It's like never really gained interest in the international fishing scene. I think, it's a sapronid. Saprinidae, so they belong to the same family as like carp and roach and what the rest of the world tends to, or especially in Europe, they consider them coarse fish. Mm-hmm. So, they're not game fish, and they do look carpish in a way because it's the same family, but like they are actually very cool fish. And again, so we get two species. We get the smallmouth yellowfish, so they They're a bit smaller as well, and smaller mouth, as the name expands. But they specialize in eating like, insects underneath rocks, nymphs, larvae, stuff like that. They'll eat crabs. They'll eat little baitfish. As they get bigger, they actually do. Some of them do turn quite heavily like onto baitfish and crabs. So they're quite cool. You catch them nymphing, swinging streamers. When I guided there, I always used to love fishing our flexo crab under an indicator for them. Because like sometimes with nymphs, there's like trout, it can be the subtle little thing. And from a client point of view, like again, they don't register the bite. Put our flexo crab on, he's not missing the bite. I mean, they kill those crabs.
Yeah, right.
And then you get the largemouth yellowfish, which get much bigger. I mean, they get to 20, 30. What's the actual record? I think the record might be over 40 pounds.
Wow.
But, like a 20 pounder is like the holy grail.
Yep.
They're obviously not as common, being like the apex predator of the system, basically. So they're quite like fewer and further between. But yeah, they like, again, they will eat crabs, and juveniles will eat nymphs and all that type of stuff, dragonfly nymphs. But like as they get bigger, they become incredibly piscivorous, and like they're just a cool fish to catch because they don't come easy. It's like a fish, like everyone will say, no matter. So you only find them in 2 systems in South Africa, while they're endemic to those 2 systems only. So it's the Vaal Orange River system, which is a massive river. I think it spans 3,000 odd kilometers from its source to the mouth, and then like basically halfway down it splits into the Vaal and then the Orange. But that's what's also cool. It's like a fish that you're only going to catch there. Like you're not going to catch them anywhere else. And those largemouth yellows, like, I mean, I've only caught a few small ones myself on fly, guided a few really good fish, but like it's a fish that's worth it irrespective of the size you catch, because you're going to put in the cast, you're going to put in the hours. But it's a special fish, and they're rare, they're slow growing. They look very cool. Like
They do look cool.
Yeah, it's like a carp that does CrossFit. Yeah,
True. And they play up a bit.
Yeah, they box hard, hey? Like
Yeah.
the smallmouth, I still rate pound for pound. The smallmouth yellow is a lot stronger.
Yeah.
Because like they also they live like in the rapids, in the fast shoots, like they're in the fast water. The largies, again, the Vaal and the Orange are 2 different. So like in the Vaal River system, they do catch them in like what we would call frog water, like the longer glides where it's a lot more calmer. The Orange River, they do still like heavy currents, the head of pools, the tail of pools. Like, so they will also sit in ambush, and they actually have like patrol routes. We used to have a spot, we used to call it Coffee Rock. So like the river splits in 2, and it was this high, like black, I'd assume granite, I'm not really sure, but like black rock. We used to park the raft on there and like climb up top, have coffee. And when I guided there, it was still going through quite its clear water stage. Subsequently from there, it's been flooding a few times, so the clarity is not what it used to be, and it used to be a full-on like sight fishery. Anyways, have like coffee with the clients, and there used to be one largie that lived like right there on Coffee Rock, and like we never fished for him, but like you sit there and you watch, and you like come up, swim onto the ledge, like chill there, and then go off. And he actually had like a patrol route, like you could actually watch him, like big
territorial.
Yeah, exactly. Like they've got their routes that they do. I mean, I've had it with clients before. Like you're standing on one rock, fishing away like hour and a half plus, not a single bite. Next 5 casts you catch 5 largies. Like it's just like they obviously you intercepted them on that route that they're on. So like it's a super cool fish, but like for some reason it's just the international scene just hasn't cottoned onto it. And again, it's such a unique experience, the actual whole experience, because most of the operators tend to do it in a drift trip style. So you like launch, you fish. Wow, I mean the company I worked for, I think we fished 36 kilometers of river. So you'd like drift like 8 to 10 to 12 a day, then set up camp on the side. But like when I say camp, like it's glamping. It's not like you carry and you don't row your own boat. Like we had proper like Montana. Okay, it wasn't Montana style rafts, but same thing, like big inflatable rafts, hard deck frames. The guy sits in the middle with the oars, holding station in the current, fishermen in the front, fishermen in the back. So you're fishing like the entire time down the drift. And then we had like a whole support crew of 6 that would like shoot ahead of us, and then like put up like a full-on camp. And you're like in the desert, because that's the other cool thing about the Orange River, it's in a desert. Like the edges of the river is like all lush and green and beautiful. 30-50 meters past that is fuck all but a rock and heat and mountain. Like it's just there's like hardly any life. There's a lot of life, but it's arid, it's rough. And now you get to your campsite for the night. Now you've got these amazing tents set up, hot shower, big fires going, like it's full on gin and tonics there waiting for you. Like it's actually a proper experience, and like no cell phone reception for 5 days.
Love that.
No one else around. The stars at night are just absolutely unbelievable, and like it's quite a mountainous area, so like just have these like desert mountains like along the river. It's such a cool experience, and I think the international market would absolutely love it. But I don't know, there's just this preconceived idea about yellowfish just being carp. That's the thing, and they're actually missing out on such a sick experience. Like I always say to clients, irrespective, like I've never had a disappointed client on the Orange River. Had super bleeds.
Yeah.
But by the end of the trip, that everyone is always like, this is like one of the coolest experiences of my life.
Huh.
Like if you don't leave a drift trip a slightly changed human being, there's something mentally wrong with you. Like it is a super cool. Like if you ever get the chance, I cannot recommend it. Like I can't recommend it enough.
I'll put it on the list because I didn't know that it...
Fishing's tough though, and it has been tough for the few years because of floods and all that. But like that is honestly a fishing trip you can go on to where the fishing means nothing.
I love that shit.
Yeah.
I'm not scared of a good time. And that in my head, like the shit that you're explaining, I'm visualizing it. That as a film project in itself would be incredible. And we might have to talk about doing it because that'll put you guys on the map.
No, definitely. You must. That's 100%. If you can do it one time, you must do it.
Man, I need to get to South Africa at some stage. Anyway, I've got to track down this Ed Truder dude that everybody's talking about.
Oh, jeez. I hope he doesn't watch this. Your SD cards don't take enough space and your batteries don't long last enough. No, he can talk and it's not bullshit. Like he's one of the most intelligent human beings I've ever met when it comes to anything about the natural world. But you better have time speaking to him.
Yeah, well, I was gonna actually. Jaco said he was floating around here, but he's gone again. But I was going to try and catch up with him for this project.
Yeah.
And just get a couple of pieces because he did a lot of work around here.
100%. Yeah. So that's the other thing. Like, he's very involved with African waters. Like, to my understanding, he's loose label of the company and he's rolling into his product development. So he's found a lot of the destinations like here.
Yeah.
For African waters. But Ed's also been incredibly involved with the conservation of here. He's worked very closely with the government. He was a big player in what's called the Gabon Bleu project, which is about establishing all the MPAs. So, like, he's a very interesting human being. If you ever get the chance,
I'll have to try.
I'd warn you, but I would recommend it. Yeah.
We're talking about Ed Truder, Jaco. His name's been mentioned like 1,000 times. Now I got to find out about this dude. And he lives in South Africa.
A mythical creature.
He lives in South Africa, eh?
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Might have to change my flights.
Yeah.
Track him down. It'd be cool to chat.
Don't book your return flight from there yet. You don't know how long it'll be.
Yeah. Definitely.
Well, man, we've been kicking on for over an hour.
No way, it's bull. I see what you mean, eh?
It goes so quick.
It
goes so quick. When you talk about stuff that you're interested in and stuff, the conversations go like super fast.
Yeah.
And I learned a heap of shit just now. Like the fishery itself here is incredible, but like the see your passion for the whole scene, and you sound like you're a passionate South African as well. Like you're very like proud of your fisheries and all the stuff.
Like you have to be. I think the first thing I realized when I started guiding here, which is I'm a bit of a pessimistic about fish stocks and all of that worldwide. I mean, it's hard not to be.
Yeah.
And it does make me sad because I think South Africa especially, like it is such a unique area because, you've got two major currents, a warm one and a cold one meeting, and a massive diversity of habitat with along 3,000 kilometers of coastline, and our species diversity there is through the roof, and a lot of them get big and gnarly and they're cool and endemic.
Just overfished, eh?
It's just fucked.
That's sad.
And like that's what made me so sad when I first started coming here and seeing what an ocean is supposed to look like. And you just think back home like, South Africa would have put this place to shame.
Yeah.
Like it really would have.
It's sad.
Yeah.
It's sad. There's places like that in Australia, even like any first world country, plus all the third world countries and stuff. It's just sad. And then you can't blame the people at these places. Like not so much here, but like Indonesia's overfished, and Indonesia's basically empty.
Yeah.
Well, Southeast Asia is, but the people have to eat it.
No,
and then
that's
they
the thing.
need the money, so they sell licenses to Chinese, and the Chinese come and fucking
Yeah.
rape and pillage the whole thing. It's
So
sad
where
how
the world,
it's
like,
managed.
yeah, depletion and poverty go hand in hand. That's
do.
just the thing.
They do. It's sad. Like I hope this sort of stuff that I chat about to people
Yeah.
has an impact, because I talk about all different sorts of shit,
Yeah.
fishing, life, hunting, and I think it all just plays into the one hand of like trying to conserve what we have and go
Yeah.
about things the right way. So, yeah, I think this will have a huge impact, especially with my audience, because
Yeah.
I actually have a lot of listeners on the audio side of it.
Yeah.
And I've only just started, I don't know, 10 or so episodes deep on the video side, but a lot of the OGs part of this podcast was fishing stuff.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are going to froth this, and hopefully you can pick up a couple of clients from it.
Yeah, it's just, I think everyone should like come experience this. Like, again, this is such a unique situation right here. And again, unfortunately, we do so much. I mean, you guys coming here, I mean, you funding this entire park.
Yeah, literally.
Like, that's the thing. It's like, you take the clients away from here, there's no more funding, and then who knows what will happen. Like, this is Africa. It's just, it is what it is. And I mean, that's the whole thing. It's because of fishing. Like, I think fishing is definitely going to get to the stage eventually, like, where like a lot of people see hunting and how cruel and whatever, and they don't actually realize that hunting and conservation are literally the same thing. And and fishing is eventually going to become like that as well for the freaking townies and stupid people in the world. But it's because of fishing this is here. It's because of fishing. You can go take a walk and see hippos surf the waves, and you can see gorillas, and you can see tarpon rolling in the mouth, and it's fishing that has done this. Nothing else. It's fishing.
There's fuckwits everywhere, but like you will not find people who care more about a place like this.
Yeah.
Like and I'm talking an ecosystem in its entirety.
Yeah.
Like people that are in it.
Yeah.
That people like I'm sure like most local people in Southeast Asia, for example, like they don't want to empty out their fishery.
No.
But they can't afford not to.
Exactly.
And,
Yeah.
Like I'm pretty sure like the African people like want to conserve a lot of their game
But they
reserves.
depend on it as well, and
Yeah.
there's
So, like,
mass populations, and it's just it is what it is.
literally. Yeah, I think it's a tough one. I think it's going to get worse before it gets better, to be honest, with
Yeah,
population
it is.
growth
And
and lack of understanding and education. But hopefully this podcast helps a little bit. I'm very grateful, man. Like it's I've learned so much here. I've had an absolute fat time. We've cooked up a fucking crazy film. Some of the footage that we've got is
cannot
insane,
wait to see
bro.
what you guys have done. I mean, because I must say, like, it's cool to see. I mean, you guys as well this entire week, like, you have put in so much work. Like,
Yeah, we went hard.
okay, there might be times on the beach in the darkness when nothing's happening, you're lying on your back, but otherwise, the rest of the time, like, you guys are constantly busy. Like, you get back, you're always setting up your kit. Who knows what you're doing in the rooms, like storing stuff, and like it's hard work, and however long you're gonna make this film, it's gonna be however long it is. It's like, oh, that's cool, but again, it's just to see the behind the scenes of it and actually what it takes. And I mean, this is just the capturing of it all. I feel sorry for you guys in the editing. Like,
Carl never full bastard.
like, it's cool to see. It's just a completely different side that, I haven't actually seen it before, like, on a scale like this. We've had one or two guys come do rando stuff, but, like, to actually try to do it in a professional way, like, it's cool. It's always cool to see that.
Yeah, and I think, like, projects like this, I'm super passionate about, because this is what I started this for.
Yeah.
And a lot of people told me that I wouldn't make a living, and I've said this multiple times, but I wouldn't make a living filming the outdoors.
Yeah.
Purely. I would have to do real estate and weddings and all the other
Yeah.
shit. And we do very little of that, in all honesty. Very, very little of it. It's all this. It's pretty much all this sort of stuff. So I'm super passionate about all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
You're right, Doug.
You get some bait.
Yes, look out.
Yeah, you like
Yes, I said bait is 8.
Yako's old man has destroyed
Yes.
this fishery this week.
Yes,
He has-
Berg's had
he
a
has-
stellar week, actually.
He slayed it.
it's sweaty and a sweaty jacquetti.
Oh, shot, man. I really appreciate your time. I'm grateful. I've learned a lot. I've met some new people. I've made some new friends, and we've done some pretty cool shit. So
Yeah,
I
it's
definitely will be
been an
back. and-
absolute pleasure having you guys. So you've made the week fun for us.
Definitely, and,
Yeah.
and vice versa, man. I'm very grateful. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, man.
Bye, everybody.